Talking character for a second. As you can see, the Crows mod doesn't want to work right now. Because I mean, look here. Let me take off that. Let me show you. There. You know how before it works, now it doesn't? So yeah. 4 and 3, there's nothing I can do. What now? If it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to work. 3, 2, 1, action.
Instead of the ever-present
Bean.
I had willingly traded the relative normalcy of Anchorage's 19-hour summer days for this endless disorientation. All in
I bought me a pocket dimension house where I stay at. A pocket dimension mansion.
Of my doctoral field research on the impacts of climate change on Inuit communities. Outpost Aurora, a climate research facility, accommodated around 30 inhabitants. A diverse group of scientists, researchers, and a handful of maintenance and support staff. As an anthropologist, I was somewhat of an oddity among the geologists, climatologists, and biologists who dominated the research.
Talking our character for a second, sorry. I forgot what city or map that the characters was in. So, as you can see already, instead the character, have a pocket dimension. Bought a pocket dimension mansion. You know what I mean. And I forgot. Is it this London map? Like the London down there? In the character's universe? Or is it another city London? For now, I'm gonna say it's another city London. Yeah, not from this map. You know how when the character is walking, like in some of my series, where the character is walking through the city to school, and then I pause it, then you see him at school. Yeah. Those school maps are not actually on that map. I use separately. Different maps. So yeah, I'm just gonna say the character London is that, basically. Like that. You know what I mean. Okay, 3, 2, 1, action.
We got along well enough, but there was a clear professional disconnect. Their world revolved around weather data, rocks, and polar flora and fauna, while mine centered around the stories and experiences of indigenous people. Being the only Inuit-speaking researcher in this remote expanse of northern Alaska, I felt a profound obligation to chronicle and protect this rich oral tradition of the local communities.
Pause it. Let's go to my mom's place. And the daughters and shit, I bought them their own house. So yeah. No, what am I talking about? The Fonchoy. Those chicks. What the fuck? How do I put it? They passed away. Eventually. My daughters and my chicks and my couple of my sons eventually passed away. But it's whatever, yo. It's life. It's a way of life. So my mum and dad made some more daughters. So yeah. Oh shit. I have to go to a place where it has fire so I can TP to it. School's not actually out yet. So I can't just fucking take a train to the city. Here we are, the shriveling home. The shriveling home. Let's go. Well, shit. Nothing up there. This is bullshit. But no matter. Who cares? Ah, there we go. Up. Down. Up this way. I could reach one of these fires here. But sadly, I don't have any food powder. Shit. But whatever, I guess. Food powder. Oh, okay, yeah, this way. Food powder. Nothing. Bullshit. 3, 2. Sorry, I didn't think about this. But whatever. 3, 2, 1. And action. Now what fire should I use? Here. I want to go to South London City. If I can put it up there. Is it possible? Yes, I want to go to South London City. Well, here we are at my mum's place in the city. Let me show you around. As you can see, fireplace area, kitchen, lounge room, pool table area, balcony. Then over here is my old room, and that's my mum and dad's room. Then let's say up there. Up here, chair area, bed area, bed. You know, the usual. Sister, brother, sister, brother, sister, brother. My new sister, my new brother. You know what I mean. Let's go outside for a day. May as well, right? Here we are. Right now, my mum is at work. And my dad too. So, yeah. At South London City. Let's go chill here for a day. I mean, why not, yo? Let's go chill down here. My mum just work at that building there. Pretty much. Press play.
Most despicable person you can think of. Jeffrey Dahmer,
A
Ted
bond.
Bundy, Louis Garavito, Pol Pot. Of course, you can make yours some primal urge to revolt against society as a whole. It's quite the bizarre phenomenon, yet none of these admittedly sick people have truly fallen into the abyss. Perhaps they've stared down into it, dipped their feet in it, but none of them have taken the plunge as a whole. Despite their efforts,
Hey,
they
Mom.
weren't able to separate themselves from their inherent humanity. But that's a good thing. That's why they were relatively easy to take down. The bad news is that every once in a while, special
You're on
cases
your
will arise.
break. Yeah,
In our circles,
pretty much.
we call these individuals
Cool.
the void people, or just voids. Individuals so far gone that they can hardly be considered humans anymore. The cause behind entities like this? Well, I wouldn't know. Nobody really does. Maybe they were born with that latent potential. Maybe they underwent some obscure supernatural transformation. Maybe their experiments gone awry. Aliens from another planet. Shit. Maybe they're literal demons from hell. Brought here by some fool who just had to conduct some fucked up ritual. Who the hell knows? The only detail that matters is the fact that they exist, and dealing with them is more than a bitch. I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of maximum security prisons. Places where drug kingpins, terrorists, prolific serial killers, etc. are sent. The places meant to contain the worst among humans. Well, those are a joke compared to where the voids are kept. At a pair of undisclosed coordinates, built in the underground of a tiny island somewhere deep in the Atlantic, there exists a prison unlike anything you could imagine. We simply call it the Chasm, a penitentiary for pure, unbridled evil. A collective evil that would surely yield humanity's extinction in a couple of months if it were allowed to run rampant in the
I
world.
can do worse than that.
Let me emphasize this a bit further.
I can kill you guys straight up.
Criminally insane.
I mean,
Criminally, absolutely out of this
I
universe
found
fucking
out
bonkers.
I'm not
Of course,
just
you
a
wouldn't know any
wizard.
of this, would you? The government would probably sacrifice 1,000 children before they divulge a single
I
detail about
found
the place.
out that my dad and mum are gods of death and destruction and darkness and masters of everything. Every single spell we can imagine. Press play.
To a person without
So
high
I could easily
that's just how they are.
destroy
they were
your
exactly
world,
32
the
being confined
human
there,
world,
save for 2 that were still being actively pursued through
at
the
my
Brazilian underground and Russian
fingers
tundra,
tip.
respectively. That was about all
They
of them
wouldn't
in the
know
world.
what hit them.
At least, we assumed that was all of them.
I
Can't really be sure about
mean,
anything these days. Each holding cell was fortified
the
to
world
hell,
would just
specifically
shut up.
designed to counter and contain the respective void they were holding.
No one would
If they
know
managed to escape,
what's
there were 8
happening
drones armed with
before
Gatling guns,
they die.
blades, grenades, and rockets
And
waiting
after
for
when
them
they
within a
die,
larger
they
chamber.
realise what happened.
If they managed to break through that, then 20 guards in mechanized
The
suits would have to
afterlife.
step in. However, everybody understood the futility of that protocol.
You think they're
Those guards were getting
dangerous?
slaughtered in
No,
seconds,
no,
regardless
no,
of the
no.
void that they went up against.
I
Maybe minutes
am
if they
more
were really skilled.
dangerous, sir.
I'm not entirely sure why any of us
I'm
regular
born.
guards are stationed here at all. Bureaucracy, I guess? Who knows what the government's thinking? If the situation were ever to get too drastic, then there was really one feasible countermeasure in place. A last resort, so to speak. The higher-ups would call in something known as Task Force Void Nova Hammer, or TFVNH for short. I've never seen them in action before, nor do I know much about them. Not that I really want to, though. If you ever find yourself witnessing them in person, that must mean you're having a bad, bad day. So, why am I disclosing all of this uber-classified information that would either get me killed or thrown in the deepest hole conceivable for the rest of my short life? Well, I'd estimate that there's about a 90% chance that I'm going to die by the end of today. And even if I do make it out of this fiasco, my life's never really going to be the same. So, fuck it. Here we go. My day started out more or less normal. I was part of the unit guarding somebody named Jim Henninger. Well, that was his real name. It doesn't evoke a lot of fear, does it? That's why we had to call him something else. Standing at 5'7", 171 centimeters, 135 pounds, or 61 kilograms, we were all required to memorize their physical stats. He doesn't look like much. However, if you ever find yourself in the same room with him, no matter how big and tough you are, you're going to get dissected or something. The main danger surrounding him stems from the fact that he seems to be able to teleport on will. 1 second you'll be staring at his dark, lifeless eyes, and after one blink, he'll disappear in a cloud of black haze, only to end up breathing right down your neck. For that reason, there's got to be at least 10 sets of eyes on his monitor at all times. There's no way around it. If he's not being watched, he will escape. He's also kind of unkillable. No matter how many bullets you put through his head or blades you plunge into his chest, the guy just won't croak. And once he gets a scalpel in his hands, oh boy. Of course, he's just one of the 32, and comparatively speaking, on the tamer side. With that said, my guard shift ended without any incident. Routine stuff. Following that, I went on break in the lunchroom with my buddy Sandu. Our conversations were usually pretty dry, but at least I can talk to the guy. It's hard to get along with any of the other guards. They're all just weird in one way or another. Anyway, lunch was usually the most enjoyable part of a working day in the chasm. What I didn't enjoy was the blaring fucking alarm and the deafening, repeating automatic voice blasting the word "Bridge" that went off as I was about to take my chili out of the microwave. I could see Sandu's face drop at the disturbance. "Are you fucking kidding me?" he mouthed. Now, I'd only ever experienced one minor breach up until that point, and it was from the surgeon. I guess none of us were paying any attention that day. He made it about 8 miles off the coast using a stolen boat, racking up a total body count of 145 in his wake. It took 3 full days to wrangle him back, and 4 more weeks to fix all the damage that he'd done to the infrastructure. That was all just one prisoner. If we were dealing with 3 or more, then our combined efforts as guards wouldn't have stood a semblance of a chance. There had only ever been one major breach in the chasm's history, in which 8 voids had broken out nearly simultaneously. It was also apparently the only time the TFV and H had to step in. This was all around 12 years ago, long before I became a guard myself. The aftermath of that, I don't have enough clearance to know, but I'm willing to bet that it was nothing fun. We did have a breach procedure. It was a lengthy document outlining exactly what we were supposed to do and where we were supposed to go. I've read it before, and it's fucking garbage. It's essentially predicated on the idea that we're cannon fodder, and that we're obligated to do whatever we can to contain the prisoners. If anybody actually followed the procedure, they'd die instantly. "Well, what the hell are we supposed to do?" somebody asked. They only got shrugs in response, except for Sanson.
Don't know why
fucking
I
hate
didn't
Sanson.
fuck my mom.
The guy seemed to believe that his life's an
In my
action movie and that
past.
he's the invincible main protagonist.
It's because in the past life, inbreeding is illegal. So, I had no choice. But now, since here, in the magical world, inbreeding is fine. It's okay here. Well, in the human world, it's just no. But here, medical, yeah. Press play.
"Are y'all fucking pussies?" he screamed at the top of his lungs with a stupid grin plastered across his face. "We never get any fucking action. Let's fucking go!" Before anybody could stop him, he picked up his rifle, swung the door open like the giant fucking dumbass he is. Since the alarm was blaring, we could barely hear anything that was going on outside the corridors. For that reason, we were all rather shocked upon seeing Morgie the Corgi standing right outside. Imagine some guy walking around wearing a dirty, giant, creepy dog costume. Now imagine that guy is 7'2", with a voice that's simultaneously deep, raspy, and childish. That's Morgie the Corgi for you. I could see the bravado leaving Sonson's face the moment he laid eyes on the abomination in person. We'd only ever seen him through a screen before. I always hated it when people tried imitating dogs, but hearing it coming from Morgie was a bit different and a lot worse. Before Sonson could even put his finger on the trigger, his head was mashed into pulp. Morgie began pouncing on other guards, effortlessly crushing limbs with his oversized paws. He'd switched between running around on his feet and crawling on all fours. The last thing I saw before running out of the break room was Morgie forcing the remaining horrified agents to play fetch with him using a stray arm. But of course, it's not like I managed to escape anywhere better. The entire place was in a fucking tizzy. The squad leaders were frenetic, attempting to scrap together some kind of suppression force. I couldn't understand why they were so delusional. Are we guards supposed to be badass? Fuck yeah! Due to our field prowess, we're specifically selected from the existing pool of CIA agents and military personnel to be dropped into this godforsaken place. Put us against a trafficking militia, terrorists, etc., we'll smoke them. But what we can't deal with are things that aren't supposed to exist in the first place. We watch creature features and slasher fics with the inherent understanding that we are watching fiction, a type of visual catharsis for our inherent fascination with the dark and grim. It's not supposed to be real, and we have no idea how to act once we find it standing right in front of our faces, not even us so-called elite agents. Like I said, I'm not sure why they even bothered keeping guards in the chasm to begin with. These were the thoughts that ran through my head as I bolted through the hellish corridors. At one point, I
So,
stumbled
we're
upon a
doing
crowd of
fuck up,
guards
man.
leering over some rails.
You
Shockingly,
sit here.
they didn't seem concerned in the slightest. What the hell are you guys looking at? I asked them. A guard I recognized as Fenton turned around. Oh, this is gonna be sick.
I know
He
it's
grinned,
spot.
gesturing for me to look below. I didn't even...
Let's go there. Done. Hold my hand. I'll teleport us there. And yes, she can use magic without have to use a wand. If you are powerful enough, you can use magic without a wand. I just realised that. Not just, but you know what I mean. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Hold my hand. Got it. Here we go. Well, here we are. Take this off. Okay, cool. It's right next to our house. Not next to it, but go walk down there. Oh yeah, that's our house over there. I mean, this way. Yeah. Cool. Free to our action. So it is our house. I'm surprised no one is here at the water park, or whatever you want to call this. They're all rather at work, or, yeah, rather at work. Let's go. Fair enough. And this park stays open 24/7. Yeah, pretty much. Cool, cool. Well, it's true, I guess. Press play.
Know where I was going, so I didn't realize that I'd wandered into a level right above the weight room. It was a sprawling gym with an abundance of the best equipment attainable, but there was one guard that used it the most, Branko Petrovic, a Serbian-American whose oversized frame hardly makes any fucking sense. I swear, when I first met this guy, he couldn't have been over 7 feet. He's around 8'2", or 249 centimeters now. I'm not quite sure what kind of bizarre experiment they ran on him, but they sure as hell overdid it. He was in the middle of overhead pressing what appeared to be an ungodly amount of weight. When one of the escaped voids wandered into the weight room floor, it was loose. Standing at 6'2", 188 centimeters, 205 pounds, 93 kilograms. Like all the other prisoners, the guy was a complete mystery. His mostly bare body was comparable to that of a bodybuilder's, save for the hundreds of gnarly scars decorating his skin. The more disconcerting part of his aesthetic was the fact that he only had one half of his face. The other consisted of his exposed skull, with some kind of red electrical current running through his cranial bones. He had the same current running through his hands, which allowed him to savagely electrocute whatever organic material he touched, quickly rendering it into a pile of steaming black mush. I guess that my fellow agents didn't bother reading up on the prisoners they guarded because Branko never stood a chance. It didn't matter if you were superior to Luz in terms of strength. One touch and you were gone. The only practical way of taking him down was by using ranged weapons, and even then, that task was easier said than done. Bronco grunted like the dumb meathead he is, before grabbing an Olympic weightlifting plate and chucking it like a frisbee at Luz. It connected, seemingly shattering his ribs, but it wasn't nearly enough to take him down. As soon as he rushed forward, the fight had been decided. Bronco attempted to tackle him, a mistake so horrible that his whole body began twitching as his skin made contact with Luz's fingertips. The electricity spread through his giant frame, causing his vitals to shut down within seconds. In no time at all, he was reduced to a heaping mass of scorched flesh on the floor. He didn't even have time to scream. I could see the respective faces of my stunned colleagues drop as they witnessed what they likely deemed an improbable outcome. Idiots, that's what they were. But, truth be told, I was also an idiot for even bothering to stay. Not long after, the sounds of cracking bones and heavy footsteps began emanating from an adjacent walkway. Along with the rest of the agents, my gaze shifted toward what was sure to be another incoming menace. The locked metal door to the corridor was suddenly dented from the other side. A big fucking dent, mind you. It only took one blow to blast it off its hinges completely. Standing at 6'6", 198 centimeters, and 242 pounds, 110 kilograms, and arriving in a haze of blood, guts, and limbs was the slasher-flick-esque killer, colloquially known as Wirehead. In congruence with his name, his entire head, save for a single eye, was wrapped in rusty barbed wire. He wore a decrepit old leather jacket and jeans, complete with a large pompadour on top. Like an 80 or whatever high school delinquent. Everyone's main concern was the weapon in his hands, a large iron bat wrapped in the same barbed wire on his head. If you didn't die from the impact, unlikely, the subsequent infection would surely get you. And don't ask us why we didn't take his weapon away when we contained him. We did, but somehow, some way, he got it back. These things really can't be helped. What the hell is going on? I thought. Breaches happened, sure, but it seemed as if every fucking void had somehow escaped. How is that possible? In any case, I couldn't afford to think deep into it at the moment. As Wirehead began moving down the mystified agents in his way, I found myself accidentally making eye contact with Luz from below. I nearly had a heart attack as I began pushing through the crowd, even though I was implicitly certain of the fact that no other location within the chasm would have been much safer. I was still being driven ahead by my fight-or-flight responses, away from that immediate threat. It was kind of funny. I'd been through so many life-or-death scenarios that my reaction to adrenaline coursing through my veins had been dulled. Well, it sure as hell got invigorated today. I guess that I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings, because right as I was about to climb a staircase, I felt an oversized arm slam into my chest, knocking me over in the process. I looked up to see another guard, Sade, leering down at me. Sure, I was happy it wasn't one of the voids, but Sade wasn't much more pleasant. "What are you running for?" He shot me a smug grin. "This is a breach, isn't it? Why don't we do our jobs here and fix it?" "Oh, fuck off!" I spat at him before trying to duck past. No luck there. He caught me by the collar and slammed me to the wall. He certainly had the weight advantage. Still, I didn't practice hand-to-hand combat just to be ragdolled by some asshole. I slammed my elbow down into his wrist, which managed to loosen his grip. I followed up with a knee to the stomach and attempted to strike his neck, but then he caught my wrist mid-punch. "Nice moves," he said, with an obnoxiously sarcastic tone.
You're not gonna get away.
He took his palm and rammed it into my chin, nearly causing me to black out. In the meantime, Wirehead was getting closer. "I guess we'll have to take this up another time," he said. "Somebody's got to work around here." I had no idea what he was thinking of trying to take on one of the voids, but I wasn't trying to see his delusions through in person. Still in pain from his palm strike, I pulled myself up and began running once more, all while the sounds of carnage escalated around me. But there was a glaring issue.
I don't blame
I had no idea where I was going. The exits were surely going to be blocked off from the outside.
They're just human.
Do we have some kind of safe room? I thought to myself. No, of course we didn't.
We
were entirely expendable.
You have no
They
chance
100% expected us to fight these
against
things head on, even though there was zero fucking chance of victory on our side.
Yeah,
there was only one thing I could do here. Survive until TFVNH showed up.
If
Obviously, that wasn't any kind of guaranteed reprieve, but my options were slim.
It'll be a little bit different.
Something rather surprising transpired. Amidst the cacophony of frenetic orders,
if I even decide to be on your side.
"Hey, Jason, you alive?" It was Sandy. I picked up my radio and isolated his transmission. "Yeah, where are you, man?"
Born.
"Got lucky and found something weird. It might save us, though. Come on." Obviously, there wasn't much information there, but it was better than running around aimlessly. Thankfully, Block C was fairly close, so I was able to make it out without running into another void. However, when I got there, it was still as chaotic as ever. I swiveled my head around, trying to spot Sandu. I yelled into my radio, but his response was drowned out by everything around me. As I searched, I began sensing a perplexing, sinister pressure that made it feel as if I were sinking into the concrete beneath me. I hardly had to guess the source. It was Diaxec. 9'5", 287 centimeters. I don't know how much he weighs. Diaxec was comparable in appearance to something you'd see in the corner of your room during sleep paralysis. A hulking, faceless figure wearing a sweeping black robe that jerked around in unsettling movements as he, or she, who knows, walked. I wasn't sure how exactly he killed people, mind you. As soon as anyone got within a certain distance to him, they'd freeze in place and begin bleeding from their eyes.
You can basically live forever.
They just stay that way forever. Obviously, that wasn't something I was looking forward to. As I looked ahead, I could see some unfortunate guards already getting caught in his death zone in an attempt to avoid a similar fate.
There's no limit, not like humans, where they die from old age. We can just live on forever and ever and ever if we really want to.
65 kilograms.
Fair enough.
His name essentially told it all. A man wearing a dirty, tattered SS uniform with a cracked gas mask covering his face.
And if you die, you have a choice.
That was inexplicably unbreakable.
Come back as a new person, as a 15-year-old, or the second choice is
you could say that I was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Go
the other way out
into
was taking the plunge
the
on the rail in front of
afterlife.
me, onto the massive screaming bodies 50 feet below. Before I considered simply saying my prayers, I felt a hand tug at my sleeve from the side, giving me another heart attack. But this time, it was good news. For once. I looked over to see Sandu, poking his head out from what appeared to be some kind of hidden door in the wall. Let's fucking go! He whisper-shouted before pulling me in. He closed the door behind him, plunging us into complete darkness.
I can tell you're not listening from this
hardly
universe.
expecting a detailed response.
That's why I told you.
Sandu illuminated his face using his phone's flashlight. We couldn't tell you, but it's fucking crazy. I could hear the Nazi beginning to spray his flamethrower from out in the corridor. I suddenly wondered whether or not Diaxic's power would apply to the other voids.
Yeah, I got
in any case, it was better not to be in such close vicinity to them. So I followed Sandu. He led me down some kind of hidden hallway. The walk was rather long, maybe about 8 minutes, and I eventually found myself in what appeared to be some kind of surveillance control room. It was still dark, but there was an array of monitors giving off enough light to comfortably navigate around. But here's the strange thing. The place looked kind of haphazard. No chance it was being used by the higher-ups. The monitors were scattered around, connected by a mess of wires to multiple outlets spread throughout the room. There was only one chair. I guess this is beyond explaining, I said. Yeah, no shit, huh? Sandu replied, before gesturing towards the monitors. Check it out. What the fuck did we just find? I took the suggestion, letting my eyes drift over the screens. What I saw would have been normal in any other scenario. Each monitor was streaming a different section of the prison, all displaying the utter carnage that was going on outside. The guards were being ripped to shreds. Some tried fighting, most were running, but what they had in common was the fact that they were all being utterly obliterated by the voids. I could see the surgeon giving somebody a forced lobotomy, grinning like hell while doing so. At the same time, Morgie was chewing on a severed head like a toy. But then I caught something interesting on a screen below. It was Wirehead and Luz staring each other down. That's when a rather obvious revelation hit me. Of course the voids weren't only going to kill the guards, they were sure as hell going after each other as well. That much should have been apparent from the beginning. I grinned, feeling some kind of obscure hope creeping into my system. That hope was only bolstered when I saw the Nazi utterly dousing Diaxec with a relentless wave of black flames, with the latter struggling to move forward as a result. I guess these bastards can be hurt after all, I thought to myself. But of course, my hopes were merely transitory. I wasn't going to kid myself. Even if only one void was left standing at the end of everything, that just meant it'll be the strongest one of them all. And we can't stay in here forever. At this point, my future is uncertain at best. Maybe I'll get lucky, maybe not. But in the meantime, I suppose I'll just enjoy the show. See how things turn out. This place gives you the creeps, doesn't it? I couldn't disagree with Sandu's assessment of the bizarre room we found ourselves in. The monitors only illuminated the area up until a certain point. However, we couldn't see any walls, which meant that the place had to be bigger than what could be seen, either by a little or a lot. We couldn't know unless we decided to venture further into the darkness. Neither of us took that initiative, though, keeping it a mystery. Still, it didn't feel like anybody was in there with us, so we allowed ourselves to relax a bit. I took the first sitting shift, lying back in the chair and focusing on the monitor that I deemed most interesting at the moment. Wirehead versus Luz. Who was I rooting for? None of them. Nevertheless, I was morbidly eager to see these two horrific titans square off. Amongst us guards, we created an unofficial tier system, ranking each respective void in terms of estimated threat in comparison to each other. The tiers went as such: tornado, weakest; tsunami, hurricane, mid; earthquake, asteroid, highest; imminent death, get fucked up. They were also divided into subdivisions: high, low, mid, etc. With that said, Luz was around a high tornado, while Wirehead was a mid-tsunami. A glaring difference between them, but not enough that would make it impossible for Luz to win. "Want to make a bet?" I asked Sandu, half joking. He chuckled. "You know my luck's cursed, but I guess if we don't make it out of here alive, then my debt's null anyway." Luz was more of a defensive combatant, so it wasn't surprising when Wirehead initiated the conflict. He twirled his bat around, still with remnants of guard flesh clinging on it, in a near mocking fashion at Luz. He was a delinquent after all. Luz hardly reacted, of course. That's just the way he was. In response, he stepped forward, electricity flickering through his hands and up to his forearms. Wirehead followed suit, unleashing a big swing at Luz's head, which he managed to intercept with one of his forearms. Nevertheless, the wires still pierced his skin. Wirehead followed it up with a headbutt. This time, it connected with the flesh of Luz's face, slicing him up rather gruesomely. But despite his seemingly grievous injuries, he remained unwavering. That was the thing about Luz. He was incapable of feeling any pain. Like I said, his exact origins remained a mystery, but the one thing that we knew about him for sure was the fact that he hailed from some kind of ancient clan residing in the Arctic Circle. In fact, he was the sole survivor of an incident that decimated his village, and he was hungry for revenge against the unknown force that did it. After taking the headbutt, Luz was now in striking range. He formed his fingers into an arrow shape and drove them into Wirehead's solar plexus before electrocuting his insides. Wirehead quaked in pain as he swung his bat in a frenzied rage, just about demolishing Luz's ribcage. No reaction from him, though. Instead, he took his other hand and wrapped it around Wirehead's neck. Any normal person would have succumbed to Luz's electrical shocks after a few seconds, but of course, Wirehead was no normal person. Despite blood pouring out of his chest wound and the skin of his neck beginning to bubble, he picked up Luz by the throat and slammed him over the steel railing. He fucking broke his back. Even without a sound, the mental audio of the spine snapping reverberated throughout my mind. Unsurprisingly, Luz didn't bat an eye. Wirehead went in for the kill, tossing Luz's body onto the ground before smashing it until it resembled nothing more than a mess of bloody pulp and broken bones. But somehow, he was still alive. Among the gruesome pile, I could see an eye blink. Once Wirehead had exhausted himself from his relentless swinging, Luz took his chance. Using his one arm that hadn't been smashed to bits, he crawled over and grabbed Wirehead by the foot before scaling him up to his neck. Once there, he drilled his fist into Wirehead's forehead, utterly shredding his hand in the process. In the end, it was worth the sacrifice. He was able to electrocute Wirehead's brain, finally causing the behemoth to drop. "So, I guess he won?" Sandu said. "I guess." I had my own reservations about calling Luz's performance a victory. By the end of it, all of his limbs and his spine had been shattered, and not an inch of his body wasn't hosting a series of deep cuts. The good side of his face had also been chipped away to the skull, leaving only his eye and half of his nose intact. And yet, he didn't move with a hint of desperation or concern, calmly crawling away from the scene using his one mangled hand. I could still see the current flowing through it as well, a telltale sign that he was ready to pick up another fight. "Nice comeback victory," Sandu said. "I don't see him making it far, though. Not as a tornado tier. Yeah, but we made all that shit up. It's not like it means anything," I responded. Truth be told, I was nearly rooting for Luz at the end there. Something about his resilience resonated with me, as bizarre as it may seem. I scanned the rest of the monitors. While Wirehead and Luz were squaring off, the undead Nazi had burnt Diaxec to a crisp. On another monitor, Morgie playing around with a void corpse that I recognized as Death Shadow. He chose his own name. 3 down, I muttered to myself. Fuck, we got a big one coming up, Sandu announced. I followed his eyes to a monitor near the bottom of the room. He was right. This one was going to be good. Standing at the opposite sides of the kitchen were Trench, 6'3", 190 centimeters, 330 pounds, 150 kilograms, and Senju, 5'10", 177 centimeters, 148 pounds, 67 kilograms. Trench was a silent entity dressed entirely in ancient-looking deep-sea diving gear, except for the head, which remained without a helmet. However, you couldn't get a glimpse of his face regardless, and that was due to the fact that his features were completely distorted. So much so that if you tried focusing on the details, all you were getting was a nasty migraine. On top of that, he was invisible in person. Let me explain. If you were standing in front of him, you wouldn't be able to see him. The only way to get a glimpse of him was through secondary means, cameras, mirrors, etc., which made him all the more dangerous. As for how he killed people, it was either by brute force, using his monstrous strength, or B, his death aura, as us guards have dubbed it. Similar to Diaxis' zone. Once you were in his close vicinity, you'd feel an astronomical amount of pressure and get crushed on the spot, comparable to what you'd feel standing at the bottom of the ocean, but that's only if Trench wills it. Sometimes he'll turn off his oars and simply punch somebody's head off. For that reason, he was in the mid-hurricane tier. As for Senju, he was basically a psychotic, demon-possessed martial artist with supernatural levels of speed, strength, and agility. He apparently trained in the Wraith style, or the technique beyond human comprehension, whatever the hell those were supposed to mean. When he gets serious, his eyes will roll into the back of his head, and black veins will begin bulging out from underneath his skin. At that point, he'll be moving so fast that his motions become impossible to keep up with visually, and a single punch from him will be enough to completely vaporize a human head. But in all honesty, he's one of the least malicious voids out of the bunch. If you're weak, like us gods, he won't even spare you a glance, granted that you stay out of his way. The only thing that he's really looking for are strong opponents to fight. But when he can't find one, he starts to get antsy, and then problems emerge. We've pegged him at a low hurricane. Can Senju even see Trench? Sandu asked. I guess so, I responded. The question was worth asking, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Trench's aura and invisibility simply didn't work on him at all. That seemed to be the case, since Senju decided to strike